ఇప్పుడు మన శ్రీ అశ్రుత్ సూర్యనారాయణ మాట్లాడతారు.
సవేగవాన్ వేగ సమాహితాత్మా హరిప్రవీరః పరవీరహంతా మనస్సమాధాయ మహానుభావః జగామలంకా మనసా మనస్వి. Sita, Dharman Sarvatmana Shrita. When we are looking at Ramayana, we have to talk about Rama. Perhaps one of the most important gunas of Rama is Dharman Sarvatmana Shrita. Rama's whole self is for Dharma. Rama has dedicated his whole being, his whole life to Dharma. That is not just Rama's guna, that is Valmiki Ramayana's guna as well. Valmiki Ramayana, every page, every shloka, every word is dedicated to Dharma. When we read Valmiki Ramayana, we are experiencing the story with the purpose of learning that Dharma. The intention, the tattva of Valmiki Ramayana is to live like Rama, is to be in Dharma like Rama, is to learn from the characters of Ramayana how to be in Dharma. After all, it is a Shastra that is for our life. So, naturally, we must examine the characters of Valmiki Ramayana in order to understand how to better live our lives. When we look at the characters of Ramayana, one very important thing is how they make decisions. In Ramayana, there are certain things that seem impossible to us. Crossing the ocean, going to the forest without even a second thought, searching for Sita Devi in the middle of a populated city with no direction, nothing at all. But these characters, when faced with these, they go through these impossible tasks with unimaginable speed, but at the same time, steady composure. There is an existence of calmness with the speed in which they execute their tasks, in which they execute their decisions. And so, I want to talk about how characters in Ramayana synthesize the speed and calmness in order to achieve the impossible, in order to move forward, in order to do Dharma. Let us begin. When you're looking at these characters in Ramayana, there's a general pattern that you'll see. So, Muhurta Nivadhyatva, Chintayamasamananaha, Dharayan Manasadakam. They all have a second when they receive into their inner selves. They take a second, calm their minds. After they calm their minds, manas samadhaya mahanubhavaha. After they calm their minds, they will the speed savegava vega samahita. And after that calming and that speed, the task happens, crossing the ocean. Jagamadaka manasamas. And so we're going to examine that. How can we calm our minds? How does this process occur? That is the question I want to first start with. Then I want to go into how can that help us. So, when I started this, the first shloka that I saw was an Aranyakanda. Tattvato hi narashrestha buddhya samuchintaya buddhya yukta mahapragya vijananti shubhashubhe. It's an interesting shloka. Lakshmana was talking to Rama. Rama was searching for Sita. He searches everywhere. Rama cannot find Sita in the Pranakutira and Panchavati. He runs around the near shore directions. He searches for clues. Rama finds the flowers scattered by Ravana when he abducts Sita. Rama goes even further. He keeps on searching. He exhausts every available option. He comes to the point where he finds Ravana's Ratha that is broken after the fight with Jatayu. Everything is strewn around. There is no other clue left. There is no way to find Sita. At that point, the frustration and sadness that Rama has turns into anger. He becomes like the fire at the dissolution of the world. He plans to destroy the whole world. He says, if nobody can return Sita to me now, as she was when I saw her last, I will destroy this whole world. I will burn this whole world. He's about to go on a rampage. At that point, Lakshmana consoles Rama. He reminds Rama. Tattvato hi narashreshta buddhya samuchintaya. Narashreshta me Rama buddhya samuchintaya. take a second, Samanuchintaya, with your discriminative intelligence, with your viveka, think, contemplate, Samanuchintaya, Anuchintaya, contemplate again and again, In that way only Mahapragya, that only great people like you, Vijanati Shubhashukya, understand what is needed to be done and what is not needed to be done. Buddhya Samanuchintaya. And so, the first thing we see is Anuchintana. Again and again, contemplate. That is the first thing. When we're faced with something of this magnitude, the first thing we need to do is to retreat, take a second, pause, and then think. Receive slowly contemplating. And through that, we go further in these tasks. Now, when I was reading this, something else came to my mind as well. Something that we see in neuroscience and psychology. It's a concept that is very much associated with sports, with flow. It's known as interoception. It is this phenomenon. Samanuchintana is interoception. The ability to receive, look at one's mind, look at one's body, and then look at everything. We have something known as homeostasis in biology, where our biology sort of gives us an awareness of everything that is going on in our body, from every cell. Then there's also changes in these cells. So starting from there, building up, and then slowly getting to the mind, this sort of awareness that is created by the brain itself is known as interoception. Internal perception, perceiving our own self. It's very interesting. There is regions for this phenomenon in the brain. We call it the anterior cingulate cortex, whatever you want to call it. And it keeps on going. There are so many interesting things in it. It's associated with emotional regulation. That's very interesting. Sustained attention. The ability to perceive oneself comes from regulating your emotions, comes from keeping attention in one place. Now, when I'm saying all of this, for some of you would have struck, you've heard all of this somewhere before. And the thing is, this interoception is a sadhana for us in Samananda. Like I said, Ramayana exists to explain dharma. 𝐸𝐫𝐢𝐵 dharma, you've heard it before. And it's in the Vedas as well. This is coming as eternal Sanatana dharma. 𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐵. The very Gayatri mantra is an upasana that is interoception. We are looking at our thoughts in our mind. We are figuring out from where it comes. That Aditya, that Surya, that self, which is giving out these thoughts. We are focusing on these thoughts, slowly coming back to where it comes. In this way, we should be doing Gayatri Japa, doing Sankhya. So that is in the Vedas. We go even further. If you go to the Bhagavad Gita, Atma Samstam Manah Kritva Nakinchana Vichintayet. You take your Manaha, you take your Manas, you put it to yourself, you slowly receive it towards yourself. Through that, you control yourself. You go to Yoga Sutra, Kshina Vrittehi Abhijātaseva Manehe Grihitra Grahana Grāhyeshu. That's the Vadanjanata Samapati. We have a concept known as Samapati. It's very beautiful. As our mind slowly loses thoughts, it becomes clearer and clearer, like a money, a crystal. Kshina Vrittehi Abhijātaseva Manehe. And at that point, when we focus on just one thing, everything sort of coalesces together. Grihitra Grahana Grāhyeshu. What we are looking at, what we are, what is being grasped, all of these things come together. And that is Samapati. And that is an essential step in our spiritual sadhana. In this way, interoception is discussed everywhere. That still doesn't answer the question, however. How? And that's where we come to Ramayana. If I say 𝐸𝐫𝐢𝐵 dharma mula, if Vedas is the root of all dharma, then Ramayana is the canvas in which this dharma is painted everywhere. So, the next step naturally is to look at where this phenomenon occurs in Ramayana. Samahurtamivadhyatva chintāvakrathitendriyaha udadrishtan mahateja Hanuman Marutatmaja. Hanuman is searching for Sita in Lanka. He searches like anything. When I mean anything, he doesn't even leave 4 thumbs with length in Lanka. Chaturangala Matropi. In this way, the whole of Lanka is searched. Pushpaka Vimana, Ravana's palace, Antapura, the kitchen, everywhere. Hanuman goes through everything within the span of a night. Sundarakanda is only a night. You forget it, we do Parayana. It's just one night. And And Hanuman searches through all of this. He can't find Sita. At that point, Hanuman starts to get frustrated. Again, he starts to think, what happens if I can't find Sita? So many people are waiting for me to find Sita. Some point they said that Sita will be in Lanka. Sita is not here. What if Sita is dead? What if I don't find Sita? What will happen to everybody? And he slowly thinks, and he logically puts it up beautifully. He says, Sita was gone, Rama will not be able to live. Rama is not there, Lakshmana will not be able to live. Yes. And in this way, he slowly keeps on going, thought after thought after thought after thought after thought. At some point, Hanuman just there's this onslaught of thoughts that is attacking Hanuman. He takes a second, contemplates, slows down. Chinta avagathitendriya. Like I said, Chinta avagathitendriya. His senses are being bombarded, assaulted by these thoughts. He takes a second, slows down, and from there, Udatishta Mahateja, he gets Hanuman Maruta. In that way, he goes to search for Sita. And he finds Sita. This is also very interesting. He focuses, and then he defocuses. It takes 1 second. And then insight is. It's something that we can learn also. We'll be doing something very intently, very hard. It'll be something that we've sat down for hours together, banging our head on a desk or something. Then we'll get up and go for a walk. Maybe go to the terrace outside and see something expand. And all of a sudden, what we couldn't do for 5 hours will come in 2 minutes. Right? In the same way, Hanuman is also able to do that by just receding internally, coming back, going inside in that way. In this way, Hanuman's search for Sita became fruitful. Now, when you look at this, I cannot be remiss. I have to go back to Rama. It's about Rama. Dharayan manasa dukkha. Again, Rama is also like this. Rama is able to balance this dichotomy. Dasharatha does, you have to go to the forest. When he goes into the Sabha, he's going with the impression of Pattabhisheka. When he comes out of the Sabha, he's going with something else entirely. Nobody knows anything. All the prajas are waiting for Rama. Rama has to go tell this news to his mother. Dharayan manasa dukkha. He's bearing it, dharayan it. And he has to go for that shoka of telling this to his mother. If he tells this, she has to experience that sadness. So, dharayan manasa dukkha. But at the same time, lakshate chitta vikriya. Sarvalokatikasya na lakshate chitta vikriya. Na become the previous pada of the shoka. His mind is calm. Chitta vikriya. There is no spandana in his mind. In that way, he's going. He's able to take this dharayan manasa dukkha. He bears the shoka. He recedes internally. He calms himself. And without any hesitation, bearing that sadness, balancing everything, he goes forward. It shows Rama as a human being. It's not that we should not feel sadness. We can feel. We can feel stressed. It is about trying to calm ourselves, control ourselves, control our thoughts. And that's what Rama perfectly exhibits. Now back to Hanuman. Hanuman doesn't only show this here. Everywhere we go, Hanuman is relaxed. Hanuman is Vishwantaha. Hanuman is relaxed. Where is he relaxed? Sita was crying for Rama. She is in separation of Rama, Ashoka Vatika. The Rakshasis have been told, telling her various cruel things. She cannot even bear to live her life. She is about to take her own life. That is why the radiant Grathamancha hero. In that place, Hanuman is relaxed. Hanuman has to console with Sita Ma and is relaxed. Does he have no empathy? She is crying. She is feeling so sad. And he's not even shedding a tear. He's relaxed. How can he be? Very simple. If Hanuman is not relaxed, he cannot console Sita Ma. So, Hanuman takes these tears. It's not that Hanuman does not shed tears. When Ravana was scolding Sita, Hanuman was crying. He was crying behind that Raksha. He controls himself. He recedes internally. And then he again does the impossible. He convinces Sita Ma, somebody who has been away from Rama for so long, and he brings both Rama and Sita Ma together. From that calmness, Vishwantaha, that is the significance of that one word. Again, let's go back to the Samudra. Interoception is probably the most beautiful example is here. See, interoception, like I said, is not just viewing the Manaha. It's about viewing our whole body. Starting from every cell, we calm ourselves, slowly build it up, and then we approach it to the multifaceted. Hanuman, when he's crossing the ocean, I said, Manasamadhaya Mahanubhava. Before that, Virodha Hridaya Pranana Akasha Avalokaya. He takes his vital energy, he takes this homeostasis, essentially all the energy in his body, whatever has been emitting, whatever is being reacted, everything. Because there's so many reactions that goes on our body. People see the technical robots, I don't know what that means. But all of that he takes, he stops, controls, Virodha, he stops it in his hridaya. Akasha Avalokaya. He looks up, he expands his mind, and from that, Manasamadhaya Mahanubhavaha Jagamanam. That is interception. And to me, that is the hub of Ramayana. If I say synthesizing speed and calmness, it is through this. It is through calming ourselves by viewing ourselves as a whole, bringing ourselves. Pranayama does that. 𝐨𝐫𝐷𝐸 𝐁𝐢𝐠𝐠. In this way, controlling ourselves in every way, slowly bringing ourselves to calmness, and from that, we execute. In that way, Hanuman executes. Now, the final place where this stops, interception is not the only thing here. There is another very important concept, pravega and samvega. Pravega is the speediness that comes from thoughts. When you want to do well, there is a rush of thoughts, right? That pravega is one aside. Samvega is the thought, the speed I talked about before, the speed that emerges from silence, from calmness. And where we can see this beautifully is in the yuddhas of Ramayana. Personally, my favorite part of Ramayana is all the fighting that happens. I don't know about anything else, but when I do Parayana, Yuddha Kanda, and Sundara Kanda, I love to see the fighting scenes just because there's so many interesting things that happen there that we might miss the real story. When we look at Hanuman, again, in Sundara Kanda, he fights with Akshakumar. Iti pravegam tu parasya tarkayan swakarma yogam cha vidhaya viryavan chakara vegam tu mahabalastada Madim cha chakresya badhe mahakapihi. Akshakumara is an excellent poet. He is restraining his senses. Valmiki says so. Hanuman thinks so. He is restraining his senses. He is fighting with every discipline that you would expect from a warrior. Hanuman appreciates that. He takes some time to appreciate. After appreciating it, he says, after this, if Akshakumara grows, it will be bad. So I must destroy him. At that point, Iti pravegam tu parasya tarkayan. He looks at Akshakumara's pravega, that speed that he's having for the control. Tarkayan takes a second, contemplates on it. Tarka. Then swakarma yogam cha vidhaya viryavan. His own karma yoga, his own yoga of action. Here, yoga of action means he's taking his action from that silence, from that tarka, from that chintana, from that dhyana. Swakarma yogam cha vidhaya viryavan. He puts it out there. And then from the chakara vega, from that silence, calmness, from that yoga of action, he impels the speed. And from that speed, the vadha happens, destruction happens. If you look at Yuddha Kanda and Ramayana, everywhere if you see the sargas, there will be vega to describe Rama and Ravana. You will see. One person can say, it's because Rama and Ravana are both holding, pose. Of course, the most important thing in the bow is to be speedy. The faster you do let go, it's like banas per minute essentially. The faster you're able to do it, the better. To me, a better, sometimes to me, something else also occurs. This Veda itself is how Rama does war. Rama's war is a war of control, calmness, and speed. And that makes sense. Why? Rama killed 40,000 Rakshasas in 1.5 hours, less than 1.5 hours. Rama, with a single Gandharvastra, destroyed a whole Moolamala Yuddha. He destroyed the whole Moolamala of Rama. It's not something normal. It's something that can only be achieved by the synthesis that Rama does. Again, it's the impossible. Somebody sits down and does this. Rama may be human, right? Rama is human, but he's able to do these inhuman things because of the simple thing that he does, practices. This samvega from restraint, he brings it about. And in this way, Rama exists and he does war. This way, everybody does war. The Ramayana characters, whoever we see, Hanuman or Rama, they do this. And lastly, before I go on to how this can help us, right? Because I think there are some avenues of research if we take this path to Ramayana. There is one last thing. Tadassa kinkara natva Hanuman dhyanavastikara. Again, this is another war example. Hanuman finishes all the kinkaras. Everybody is come. He destroys them, anything. Right? Then he comes back, contemplates, dhanavasana. And then the next Ravana sends another force, Jambuman. So on and so forth. Somebody comes, Hanuman destroys. Takes a second, Jayatiti Golo Rama, Chansara. And then he comes back, but sees internal calm. From that speed again happens. Keeps on showing calmness, speed. They're not exclusive things, they're not opposites, they're things that come together. In fact, they are things that are naturally probably different. So now, let me come to why I think this is important for people in science. Interoception, right, this whole thing I've been talking about, it's something that we study based on certain requirements. We say, okay, this region, the ACC, anterior cingulate cortex, is the region responsible for interoception. And we say, okay, there are certain psychological factors, let's say sustained attention, emotional control, all of that. What I want to know is if Ramanarayan characters can exhibit interoception, is there a connection between interoception and the will to do good for the universe, universal welfare, right? Because in psychology we have markers for that, pro-social welfare, pro-social motivation, right? Is there a connection? I think that we can use this as a sort of guiding mark, a sort of benchmark to go through those avenues. After all, dharma and this phenomenon, dharma and yoga are connected is same. Why not do that, right? And as for us, I guess the most simplest thing is when we're doing something hard, when we're doing something difficult, the thing we must naturally do is take a second, slow down, pause, calm ourselves, and then start. In that way, I think that's the most important thing we can learn from this. That's the only thing I've talked about. So in that way, I finish. Thank you for giving me this time. Sitaram. Jai Sitaram.
Excellent speech. Once again.
I forgot to mention, I have to acknowledge someone in this. Actually, the Pradegas, Sabdegas, and India are not just originated from me. Shyam Sundarji from Samarth Academy. There was a camp when the Shloka came, and that insight came from him. So I want to acknowledge him as well. He was very instrumental for me to form this whole idea. So I want to thank him. I'm not thank him, but he's the person who gave this research for that. It has to be acknowledged. So I just needed to mention that as it's very important. See that.
అద్భుతంగా ప్రసంగించిన శ్రీ అశ్రుత్ సూర్యనారాయణ ని సత్కరించవలసిందిగా వేదికలు అందించిన పెద్దలను కోరుకుంటున్నాం. ముఖ్యంగా డాక్టర్ రంగన్ గారు, we request you to be part of this celebration. జై శ్రీరామ్. Hats off to Sri Ashruth Suryanarayan. The way he swung between the two topics, or many topics, the grace with which he moved from one topic to another topic is excellent. I know he's really fortunate to have a guru like Dr. Rangan sir. We're really feeling jealous.